Hi, this is Mike from BandLabs. In this video, we're going to see how you can use BandLab's new pumper effect to make your beats punch through the mix, tighten up samples, and get louder mixdowns. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description. If you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. Pumper is a dynamics effect that adjusts the volume of the track in time with the project tempo, and you might like to think of it like an automatic sidechain compression. It works particularly well with 4-to-the-floor styles of music, such as house, disco, and techno. So let's make a quick house beat to see how we can use it to improve our tracks. I start by adding a virtual instrument track and setting it to drum pads, new house. I sequence kick drums on each beat of the bar. With claps on the second and fourth beat, and open hats between each beat. I turn BandLab's snap to grid function off and add a snare just after the 8th 16th note, and a closed hat just after the 10th 16th note. Playing these 16th notes slightly behind the grid gives them a funky swing. I turn the velocity of these swung notes down to 64 to make them quieter. I then duplicate this bar out for the rest of the 4-bar clip. To duplicate notes or clips in BandLab, hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and drag them over. I turn this track down to -3 dB to give me more headroom in the mix to add other elements. I create another virtual instrument track and set this one to pads, Retro Juno pad. I set this track to -3 dB too. I program in a chord progression that plays F sharp minor 7, A minor 7, and C major 7 in the third inversion. This gives me a jazzy US house style feel. Let's try using the pumper effect on the pad track to see how it can help us get better mixdowns. I open the effects panel and add a dynamics pumper effect. To hear what this effect is doing more clearly, let's solo the track and turn the pumper's amount parameter all the way up. The pumper effect lowers the volume of the track rhythmically, and the higher the amount parameter goes, the quieter the track gets on the beat. The time parameter controls the tempo of the effect, and this can be set between 16th note triplets and half notes. Let's return this parameter to quarter notes. As our kick drum plays on quarter notes, with this setting, pumper will reduce the volume of the pad track when the kick drum plays. We can control the alignment of the volume modulation with the phase knob. Let's unsolo the track and take a listen to how adjusting the phase knob affects the sound. I think a phase of 38 sounds good. Now I've set up the phase, I don't need the effect to be so obvious, so I reduce the amount to 62%. Let's play back what we have so far with the pumper effect activated, and then with the pumper effect bypassed, and listen to the difference. With the pumper effect activated, the track sounds more pumping. The kick punches through with the mix more, and everything sounds more rhythmic. Let's save this effect setup as a preset so that we can use it quickly on other tracks. I click the menu button and select Save As. I'm going to call this effect House Pumper. Let's try adding our effects preset to another track. I add another instrument track and set this one to Synth Basses, Tropical House Bass. I set this track to -3 dB. I sequence a bass line that follows the root note of the chords, with the last note an octave up to keep things interesting. In the Effects panel, I click the Presets button, select My Presets, and click the House Pumper preset to load it. Let's mute the pad track so we can hear what's going on more clearly. I feel the bass track is being too squeezed by the pumper effect, so I turn its amount down to 42%. Pumper isn't just useful for sidechain compression style effects. Let's try out another use case. In BandLab's Sounds, select the Loops tab and enter Shaker into the text search field. I drag Wildcard's Perk Cabasa Shaker 120 into the project. I use the loop handle to loop this out for 4 bars. I set this track to -5 dB. In the Effects panel, I add Pumper, then set the time to 16th notes, the phase to 72.3, and turn the amount all the way up. This tightens up the shaker loop, making it sound punchier and more upfront. Earlier, I mentioned that Pumper will help you get louder mixdowns. We can see that this is true if we bypass all the pumper effects. With the pumper effects bypassed, we can see that our mix is clipping the master. However, with the pumper effects active, the mix doesn't clip, meaning we can turn it up more and get a louder master. One more tip. Let's say you want to make a breakdown where the kick drum isn't playing, and you don't want the track to pump in time with the beat. In that case, just automate the pumper amount level down to 0 for that section. Remember, you can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!